Hello friends, I am Savalian, a software dev / creative. You can call me Sava if you'd like. I like setting goals, exploring productivity, making plans, and really just experimenting with processes like that. And today's video is going to be a check-in, goal setting update for the mid-year of 2022 because the year ends in 6 months, and as an added milestone, I also turn 30 in 6 months. I've really been trying not to let aging freak me out, and I typically love birthdays, but this one feels like a big one. And despite my best efforts, I am getting a little bit just like worried. I have this constant anxious feeling that time is running out, even though I know that statistically I've got plenty of time ahead of me. I just have this like nagging feeling in the back of my brain that I need to do something. And I'm choosing to harness this anxiety by making big goals for the next 6 months, and I really would like to finish my game before I turn 30. So there, I've said it out loud. That's my goal. But we'll get to the specifics on what exactly I want to finish. First, we're going to talk about what I've done this year so far. So I didn't actually set yearly goals for 2022. Instead, I picked 4 initiatives, or just like sort of categories that I wanted to improve on, do work in, and then per quarter, because I'm following kind of a tweaked version of the 12-week year, I made specific goals for the quarter. So far we've been through 2 quarters, as you might expect, halfway through the year. And the first category I want to talk about is software. And if you want to hear me talk about these categories, why I picked them, and why they're important, I will link a video somewhere to my goal setting that I did in December. So as you might expect, my software goals were all pretty much centered around game development. I'm currently working on an auto chess game that I have affectionately codenamed Project Caribou. It is going to need a real name at some point, but I have no ideas. I'll get to that eventually. But I was looking through my journals, my vlogs, my Git history, and I've compiled a list of all the things that I actually finished on the game this year. First, I did a lot of refactoring to improve the code structure, make it easier to maintain and easier to test, and then I actually added a significant number of tests for that. I implemented a basic scoring system and recently tied that into player stats, which I am still working on, I'm still finishing. But we have this idea of scoring and statistics and something for the player to improve on. I added elemental connections, so elements can be assigned to different units. Where they're placed on the board actually matters now, which is important, I think, for creating like variety and strategy in the game. I added a little bit of UI, including the planning timer and a couple of other little things. The UI is only a teeny bit done, but I did add some UI. I overhauled my textures I'm using for my creatures so that I have a lot more colors, a lot more combination options, and I also updated the shader so that I can add different effects to different parts of the mesh. So we now have a sparkly shader, and then we have like some metallic or extra shiny ones, and then we also have a couple more slots basically where we can implement different shaders to make things look cool, to make more cool skins. And then I also added a system for adding custom skins. And then the last big thing I did on my game was I added the scene transitions. So there's a menu now. You can use the menu to get into a game, and then you can either win or lose that game and get back out to the menu. So that's a lot, and even if you just look side by side, you can see how much the visuals of the game have changed since this footage that I took in December. It's really made a lot of progress, and this is one of the things that I think journaling is really good for, and just keeping like a record of things, because you can see on long projects like this what you've actually finished, because it can start to feel like you're not going anywhere just because it takes so long. I actually have a whole video on completing long projects that I want to do soon, but for now, I think it's enough to say that when you feel like something is a slog and it's taking forever, going back and compiling all your wins can be a big boost in just like morale and motivation. Now on to the other initiatives. So Mortal Vessel was my next one. It's basically my health and wellness goal. And this one's pretty hard to quantify because I didn't set anything solid as a goal. I really just wanted to establish a strength training routine, which I did pretty effectively. I was doing strength training twice a week, every week for Q1, and then almost all of Q2. I fell off a little bit these past 2 weeks. It's okay, we can't let these little setbacks kill the whole project. So I feel good about that, but I do think I want to set some more serious goals for Q3 and on. So we'll talk about that as well. But in general, I'm feeling pretty good. Simple Wealth is my money and sort of like minimalism goals, which I feel like go hand in hand. And the money side of Simple Wealth has been really hard for me because since basically 2020, like, everyone else, I have just been hit repeatedly by financial crises. And I've been able to bear them, like we're doing okay, but it's put us in a lot of debt, and it has sort of taken away the feeling of control that I felt like I had over my finances, which has been really hard. It's like the worst feeling to feel like your fate is up to chance, basically, because the planning and the work you do to prepare for stuff has just been like drained out. So really what I've been doing is kind of just accepting my financial goals are not happening this year. I really just need to stabilize. I need to get this debt paid down. I need to get back to a point where I do have like disposable income again, because right now between a ton of house repairs, we had a death in the family last year that was incredibly expensive and sudden, and it was not planned for at all. We have a cat who has cancer. He's doing okay, but his treatment is kind of expensive and he's on special food. So we just have like a lot of things happening all at once, and I just need to get through some of that, and then I think possibly next year we may be in a place to make new financial goals, but for now we're just trying to tread water here, I think. But it hasn't been all bad, because something I am in control of is the simple part of Simple Wealth, which was this idea of using what I have, enjoying what I have, and simplifying my possessions, my routines, the stuff in my life, so that I can really find joy in what's there. So I have been using up my knitting stash and actually completing knitting projects, and that has felt super good. I finished a blanket. Let me see if I can get it in frame. It's currently acting as a dog kennel cover for the sole purpose of me not knowing where else to put it. Because if I put it on the couch, the cats are gonna puke on it just immediately. Alright, are we back? We're kind of crooked now. There we go. But that blanket I actually started over 10 years ago, and it's finally done. I kept putting it off. So that part of this initiative I have control over, and I'm really gonna embrace it. And then the last thing I did for Simple Wealth was explore the idea of setting up a sticker shop as a source of income. And I feel like what I've found so far is really promising. I ordered a bunch of samples. I looked into what it would take to sort of maintain something like this. And then I also have been practicing my art, my digital drawing skills, and I feel like it's going really well. So that's something I want to definitely explore in the second half of the year and see if I can get something launched for that, or if I still think it's a good idea. Okay, the last initiative, Media Community, was all about building community around, my internet presence, basically. So YouTube, I do some writing on Medium. Twitch is probably my favorite. Sorry, YouTube. But I just feel like Twitch has so much more connection potential in terms of like getting to know people and talking to them. But anyway, how have my goals gone for media community? One of the goals I had was to get back into the Medium Partner Program, and I was able to do that. It involved getting 100 followers, and I know there are people who will sort of do a follow for follow thing. I hate that. I never do that. I don't do it on Instagram. I don't do it on YouTube. I didn't do it on Medium. I intentionally went out and I found writers that I thought had valuable content, and I followed them. I also published content, and slowly over the course of a few months I got up to that minimum 100 follower threshold, and I feel really good about it. I feel like I'm off on a good foot getting back into that partner program. So for anyone who doesn't know, they changed the rules basically late last year. Before, you could just sign up for the partner program whenever you wanted, and then now there's this sort of minimum requirement, and I think it's reasonable. I do think it's reasonable. I don't think it's very difficult to reach these requirements. I think it just takes some concerted effort, which is what I did. I have also really amped up my YouTube schedule, which I'm sure you've noticed. I've been publishing, I think, every week for a while now, and there's been this really encouraging uptick in views, in watch time, in comments, and I just want to say thank you. It really warms my heart to know that you guys are enjoying the content I'm putting out. And as always, if there's something that you want to see specifically, please let me know. Because really the goal here is to make videos that you're gonna enjoy. And hopefully, we can find a place where what you want to watch and what I have the skill and interest to make sort of overlap. I've been feeling a lot more optimistic about YouTube in terms of growth, and I have you to thank for that, so thank you. And that is basically a recap of what I've done this year. There are some little things that I left out for the sake of brevity. I still think this video is going to be a lot longer than I wanted, but we'll keep rolling. So I'm currently on basically the 13th week of the 12-week year, which is like a buffer week where you sort of wrap up the previous 12-week year, you rest a little bit, you plan the next one. It's meant to be a period of rest and transition, and so this video and all the thinking and journaling I've been putting into this topic and figuring out my goals is part of that buffer week that I've been doing. So what I'm going to talk about next is my goals for the upcoming 6 months, but they will be a little bit vague just because I haven't finished this process of nailing down exactly what I want to do for quarter 3. So we're gonna talk about aspirations, about what I would like to do, and then in the future I'm going to get the specifics written down on a plan. So the first thing I want to say is I am going to let go of finance goals. Like I said, it's just not in the cards right now. I'm going to continue trying to make responsible spending decisions, save as much as possible, but the goal is really going to be to stabilize what I've got now and pay down as much debt as possible, and just sort of, I don't want to stress about money, because the more I try to force it into alignment with my goals, the more anxious I get when it doesn't work. So we're just gonna take a break on that and revisit that in 2023. What I will keep doing is I will keep working on the sticker shop, just sort of assessing what the best way is to set it up, see if it's viable, continue working on getting designs made for it so I have a nice chunky backlog, or a catalog, I guess, for when it goes live. If it does, maybe I'll decide to scrap it, but working on the sticker shop is my big priority for Simple Wealth, and then also just continuing the decluttering, continuing stash busting by completing knitting projects, keeping things clean and tidy and just sort of functional and joyful, if that makes sense. So that's all my Simple Wealth goals. We're not going to get more complicated than that. The next one I'm going to talk about is Mortal Vessel. So we're kind of going in a different order because I want to save the game goals for last, because they're going to be kind of the most significant. So Mortal Vessel, I want to set some real tangible goals. So I'm thinking I want to improve my cardio fitness this half of year. I focused a lot on strength in the first half of the year and it's been good, but I feel like setting a goal to do like a big race or, you know, a certain distance, or even my Fitbit has this like fitness score for cardio fitness. If I could just move that a little bit, maybe that would be a good goal. But I want to get more serious about my wellness, a little bit more intense, because it's been pretty easy so far. And if possible, I think I do want to set some sort of nutrition goal, because I have a problem. I eat a lot of junk. I don't moderate my intake, and it's not good for me. So I'm going to think about how I can make goals around that aren't going to be too restrictive, but that will push me in the right direction for the sake of my poor little heart. That's, it's got to keep me going for however many more years, so I need to take care of it. For media community, I actually don't think I want to set any big goals. I think what I want to do is maintain what I'm doing right now. So I want to keep up this sort of posting schedule. I think I want to keep the schedule going as it is, and I may even focus it a little bit more to support my game project, because the dev vlogs have been really popular lately, so you guys like them, or at least some of you like them, and they also act as a push for me, because if I don't do the development, I can't make a vlog about it. So there's this sort of accountability thing where I know I need to put in the work on my game, because otherwise there's this chain event. I can't make a vlog about it. I can't update people on what's going on. And so I think probably what you'll see is more dev vlogs. I hope that's okay. And probably a reduction in the other types of videos, though I don't want to stop completely and only do dev vlogs. So I'm gonna see how I can find balance in that and see how I can make this still like exciting and varied and interesting for you guys to watch. But for the most part, I just want to go sort of on maintenance mode. I want to put in the work, but keep that work limited, because the next goal, my software goal, I want to finish my game this year. I really wanted to get it done in 2021. That obviously didn't happen, but what I did do was I got the core game loop finished. So even though it was unpolished, even though it was incomplete, you could theoretically play through a game with what I had in December 2021. And if I remember, I'll link the video where I talked about it. It was posted on December 31st, I believe. Yeah, I think it was the 31st. And it kind of talked about what I got done, how I was feeling about it, what upcoming goals were. That's kind of a similar milestone I want to hit this year, except I want it to be complete in the sense that I would be comfortable handing it to someone and saying, here's a rough, alpha version or whatever, play it and let me know what you think. So I don't want to release it in 2022. I would love to release it in 2022. I don't think that's realistic. So my goal is not to release it. My goal is to get it into a state where a person who is not sort of working on it with me could play it and enjoy it and sort of experience the entire experience that there is, if that makes sense. So here's some things that I've made a note of that I definitely need to finish in the next 6 months. So I need to rework the enemy wave system so that it can sort of generate increasingly difficult waves and encourage that progression without me designing each one sort of manually, though I may do both. I'm still figuring out how I want to do that. If I want to have a pre-programmed campaign and like an endless mode. Anyway, I need to figure out that difficulty scaling for progression. I need to think about story, how much story I want, how I want the player to like get that story, and then I need to actually like write it and put it in. So story is a whole thing I haven't really touched on so far. I need to let the player unlock things and expand their experience of the game over time. So this kind of ties into the difficulty progression, where I need to think about how players are feeling that sense of progress and what they're getting as rewards and things like that. So I have the skins that I've got. There's a couple of other things I wanted to work in, but that's a whole piece that I need to figure out. I need to finish the UI. I need to finish sound and music. I've gotten like the tiniest bit of sound in there. Like I think I added one sound. The whole game still needs sound. And then I also need to do some work on the creature moves and add a little bit more content there. So I need to make each creature feel useful and unique. I need to get the visuals and stuff in the game, and I need to sort of play through and see how things can be balanced in the future, how I can make that an easy process to do. When you have all these different move sets, it can be hard to make sure one isn't like super OP compared to all the other ones. So that's a whole thing that I need to figure out, and I think that's it. It's probably not it. I'm probably going to find a bunch of other stuff that I need to work on as I get into it, but that's what I have right now sort of written down. And then of course once all that's done, I need to do a lot of playtesting and see how it feels, see if it's fun, see how I can improve it, and things like that. So big goals for the next 6 months. At this point it feels possible, but I don't know, I've got a lot going on, and I think my brain forgets that when I estimate how long stuff's gonna take. But we're gonna give it a good try. Like I said, I'm gonna spend the rest of this week planning, working out the details, getting things written down so that I can really just execute on this plan rather than floundering, figuring out what it is I need to do. I want to get all that sorted out as soon as possible so that I can just do it, in the infamous words of Shia LaBeouf. Do it. Did I succeed in keeping this video succinct? Probably not, but I did my best. This was my mid-year check-in for 2022. Doing stuff like this gives me so much like energy for finishing out the year. It's like a little milestone, a post where you can stop on the road and just say, this is how far we made it. We can take a breath, we can gather up our things, our traveling supplies, and then we can keep going in the morning. I love planning. I'm having a lot of fun working through these thoughts, though I have been playing just like a ton of diplomacy is not an option instead of thinking and journaling. So I need to tone that back just a little bit and get back on the planning bus. But I've been having a lot of fun this week, getting all these thoughts out of my head, putting them in order, journaling about what I want, daydreaming a little bit. I need to finalize my goal specifically for Q3, and then I can just sort of have a vague plan for Q4. But Q3, I really want to get deep into the game development, really push it, treat it like my job, and then maybe it'll be my job by next year. Probably not. We'll see. We can dream big, right? And then I just need to go and work and get it done. And maybe in 6 months, I will have a finished game, and then we'll be talking about my marketing plan and my release plan and playtesting and stuff like that. So wish me luck. I hope this video was entertaining. I hope it was interesting. I hope it gave you that little boost that you need to get going on your goals again. And in the comments, let me know what you would like to finish before the end of the year. If you make plans like this. If you don't, I just hope you're having a good day. So don't forget to subscribe if you would like to. I'll be back soon with another video, and I hope to see you there. Bye bye.